Hello students, welcome to another video lesson on Notebook. Today we learn about the water in the atmosphere. Let us begin. Students, air contains water vapor which varies from 0 to 4% by volume of the atmosphere. Water is present in the atmosphere in three different forms: liquid, gaseous, solid. There are four major processes of water exchange. These are evaporation, transpiration, condensation, precipitation. Humidity is the water vapor in the air. Absolute humidity is the actual amount of water present in the air. It is the weight of water vapor unit volume in the air, which is expressed in gram per cubic meter. Temperature of a place dictates the amount of water vapor that the air can hold. Relative humidity is the percentage of moisture present in the atmosphere as compared to its full capacity at a given temperature. It is greater over the oceans and least over the continents. It is saturated when the air containing moisture is full to its capacity at a given temperature. Dew point is the temperature at which saturation occurs. Now, evaporation is the process of water being transformed from liquid to gaseous state. Heat is the main cause of evaporation. Latent heat of evaporation is the temperature at which the water starts evaporating. Increase in temperature and lack of moisture leads to increase in the water retention and absorption capacity of the air. Movement of air replaces the saturated layer with the unsaturated layer. Thus, greater the movement of air, greater is the evaporation. Next is condensation. It is the transformation of water vapor to water, that is, gaseous to liquid state, which is caused by the loss of heat. When moist air is cooled, it loses its capacity to retain water vapor at a certain level. Sublimation is the direct condensation into solid form. In free air, cooling around hygroscopic condensation, nuclei occurs. Particles of dust, smoke, and salt from the ocean are good nuclei. Condensation is influenced by volume of air, temperature, pressure, humidity. It takes place when the temperature of the air is reduced to dew point with its volume remaining constant. When both temperature and volume is reduced, moisture is added to air through evaporation. Decrease in air temperature, which is the most favorable. Post-condensation, the forms that the water vapor takes are dew. This is the moisture deposited in the form of water droplets on the cooler surface of solid objects, rather than nuclei of air above the surface, such as stones, grass blades, and plant leaves. Frost. It is formed on cold surfaces where condensation takes place below freezing point, that is 0 degrees Celsius. Dew point, or at below the freezing point. Here, the excess moisture is deposited in the form of minute ice crystals. Ideal condition is the same as dew, except the air temperature must be at below the freezing point. Fog and mist, they make the visibility 0. Due to fall in temperature, water condenses around fine dust particles. Fog is thus a mini cloud with its base at or very near to the ground. Urban and industrial centers provide plenty of nuclei for the fog and mist formation. Together, they form smog. Mist has more moisture than fog. Mist is frequent over the mountains as the rising warm air goes up the slope and meets a cold surface. Fog is prevalent where warm current comes in contact with cold currents. Clouds. Clouds are a mass of minute water droplets or tiny crystals of ice formed by the condensation of the water vapor in free air at considerable elevation. Depending on their height, expanse, density, and transparency or opaqueness, clouds can be categorized into four major types. Cirrus. These are formed at high altitudes like 8,000 to 12,000 meters. They are thin and detached clouds having a feathery appearance, which are always white in color. Cumulus. They look like cotton wool and are formed at a height of 4,000 to 7,000 meters. Existing in patches, they exist scattered and have a flat base. Stratus. These are layered clouds covering large portions of the sky. They are formed either due to the loss of heat or the mixing of air masses with different temperature. Nimbus. These are black or dark gray in color, which forms at the middle levels or at the very to the surface of the earth. They are dense and opaque to the rays of the sun. They are shapeless masses of thick vapor. The combination of these types can give rise to high clouds, cirrus, cirrostratus, cirrocumulus, middle clouds, altostratus, and altocumulus, low clouds, stratocumulus, and nimbostratus, clouds with extensive vertical development, cumulus and cumulonimbus. Finally, students, the last process is that of precipitation. It is the process of the condensed water vapor falling to the earth, that is, releasing moisture once the resistance of the air fails. It takes place in either liquid form, known as rainfall, when the temperature is lower than 0 degrees Celsius, and in the later, it is in the form of snowflakes like hexagonal crystals and is called snowfall. Sleet is the frozen raindrops and refrozen melted snow water. It occurs when a layer of air with the temperature above freezing point overlies a sub-freezing layer near the ground. These are not bigger than the raindrops from which they are formed. Hailstorm is when the drops of rain, after being released by the clouds, solidify into small rounded solid pieces to reach the surface of the earth. It is formed by the rainwater passing through the colder layers. They have several concentric layers of ice, one over the other. Now, rainfall is of three types. Conventional rain. Here, air on being heated becomes light and rises up in convection currents where it condenses and cumulus clouds are formed. Along with thunder and lightning, heavy rainfall occurs which doesn't last long. It is common in the summer of the hotter part of the day, especially in equatorial regions and interior of the continents, particularly in the northern hemisphere. Orographic rain, also known as relief rain. It occurs when the saturated air masses ascend up a mountain, expands, the temperature falls, and the moisture is condensed. Thus, the windward slopes receive greater rainfall, after which the wind descends on the other or the leeward side. It remains rainless and dry and is known as the rain shadow area. Cyclonic rain occurs on the cyclonic fronts when two masses of air of different temperature, humidity, and density meets. It is discussed in detail in the chapter Atmospheric Circulation and Weather Systems. Rainfall is distributed in the world very unevenly. From the equator towards the poles, it keeps decreasing steadily. Coastal areas receive more rainfall than the interior of the continents. Major precipitation regimes of the world are equatorial belt, windward slopes of the mountains along the western coasts in cool temperate zone, and the coastal areas of the monsoon land receive heavy rainfall of over 200 centimeters per annum. Interior continental areas receive moderate rainfall varying from 100 to 200 centimeters per annum. Coastal areas of the continents receive moderate amount of rainfall. With that, we come to the end of today's video lesson. See you soon. Have a great day ahead. Goodbye from Team Notebook.